Speaking of,
What do you mean worthy on the air? I thought we were doing a professional broadcast today.
Welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I'm your trusty co-host.
Shut the fuck up.
Ayrton.
That is my gimmick, and you'll not take it from me. Haven't even had the proper intro music yet. I just wanted to let everybody know I hit go live, so I didn't forget to.
Also, for everybody, we were all late and gay because we were busy at an ice cream social together.
Yes,
Except
we
because he's lame.
which we need to now as the cold open explain to Rune who Daddy Jim is.
I want to be clear. I have ice cream here. I don't need your gay ice cream at your gay social.
You need this gay ice cream at this gay social. And
And
it was a bring your own ice cream.
Yeah, and our good friend Jim had chemotherapy flavored ice cream.
Yeah,
chemotherapy ice cream.
Well, chemotherapy and Camel cigarettes. Oh, speaking of ice cream, my wife got me some bourbon, vanilla bean, and truffle ice cream the other night. It was amazing.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Are you going to actually advertise this thing on the?
I'm working on it.
Okay. I'm just like, where should I continue to the thing?
Oh, well, I figure our cold open can be us explaining to you who Jim is.
Okay. And then I would like an explanation of what child molester is DC Comics promoting, because I've not heard of this.
I will bring that up, and no, it's not Batman.
Oh.
All right, so
I just assume the outfits he makes the Robins wear.
When we talk about Daddy Jim, we're talking about a content creator known as Mr. Medicare. He is a figurehead from
He was also
lore.
He was also known as the Internet Aristocrat.
And Jim 81 Jim and
Yep, Billy the Anti-Bully,
Mm-hmm.
the Quarantined Coof. He is the father of shit posting, in my opinion. The father of Bloodsport.
The Godfather.
Yes, the Godfather of shit posting and internet blood sports. He saw the rise and fall of everyone who came before and after him, except for DFB so far.
And he talked about how almost all those people are currently awaiting charges or in jail.
Or running from the police because of their outdated child support payments.
Okay, so I got to ask for a clarification.
Have either of you verified that about Tonka?
No, nobody cares about Tonka Saw.
I gotta clarify this, because it's not that there's a singular parent. It's not a Godfather hierarchy like a mob. It's a pantheon. Where does Jim stand in association to or relation to Filthy Frank?
He's Zeus or Odin, essentially.
Right.
But then what's Filthy Frank?
A peasant.
So, because you see, Jim is more a firm part of the 4chan / Kiwi Farms zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rune, do you know the Half-Life mod? That was the school shooter world tour.
I have not heard of this murder simulator, but I would like to apply to its. I'd like to apply to its literature.
he was part of that mod, and it's actually part of a Supreme Court. He's citing First Amendment speech and stuff like that. So he's been fucking around for a long time.
So do you know Sargon of Akkad? Who that is?
I am familiar with
he's Sargon of Akkad's archenemy.
But Sargon believed that Jim was the guy who was going to help lead the American people to freedom.
Yes.
Sargon of Akkad's archenemy is Anita Sarkeesian.
No, Sargon of Akkad's archenemy is Sargon of Akkad, but
that too.
But no. Like Jim, he believed was going to be the savior of the West. If only he got off his ass and did something, but he didn't do it.
Jim was the savior of the West. That was the problem.
No, that's the thing. That is the American story. We've always been the savior of the West. If only we got off of our fat American asses and did something. The last time we did something, it was called 1945.
And let's see. Also, yes, he was involved in a chat where Milo Yiannopoulos and Sargon were having like a very gay moment, like loving all over each other while talking to Jim
and wearing a wig.
And wearing a wig.
Okay. I mean, I'm getting the picture of this. I'm just assuming that structurally, Jim is someone who is present for other people's stupidity and points and laughs.
Yes,
he's the boomer groomer.
Also, Jim has done various things like exposed people to the Kemet movement on the internet.
Okay.
And helped more people learn about sovereign citizens.
Zoo sadist. He
zoo sadism. Yeah.
Oh, those fuckers, man! I don't even want to.
Yeah.
But
let's touch on his popularity real quick.
Hold on. I just want to say, Jim is literally the reason that I know the different levels of furriness.
I'm sorry,
and I hate myself for it.
I'm sorry.
Let's touch on his popularity real quick, though. Jim was gone to get cigarettes for 18 months off the internet.
Yeah.
Except for the occasional Twitter update.
Yeah.
Because Jim had a kind of cancer, and then when he went in, they said, "Oh, unfortunately, we've discovered that you actually have 8 other different kinds of cancers, 5 of which only exist in you."
No, he has gonosyphil AIDS.
That's a joke, but no, seriously, he has like 5 or 6 different cancers that like he's going through experimental medical treatment at Mayo's.
Here's the thing, okay? I am familiar with most of the players in the Sphere, okay? Mm-hmm. And I even agreed with them at various points, right? Like, Dankula should never have been kicked off the internet. Mm-hmm. Sargon used to do meaningful content. I understand why Kraut and T went away. And I understand why, now that Kraut has come back, he has emphasized doing historical content rather than...
By the way, Jim also busted Kraut and T as well.
Well, Kraut also had the moment of clarity, which is why he GTFO'd and said, I gotta get away from these people.
No, it was because Jim fucked him up the ass.
Yeah. Jim completely exposed him.
But,
also, remember when Mundane Matt was exposed for deleting...
that only happened because Jim and Zidane were there.
Yeah, I'm familiar with most of these people, and the reason I don't follow them anymore, or I don't specifically get on my way to be familiar with whatever their talking points are, is because at a given level of popularity, they stop giving a shit about acuity, whatever the fuck's going on, and start giving a shit about perpetuating their own narratives, which themselves are fucking questionable.
Well, good news. Jim actually cares about acuity, but unfortunately he's busy focusing on his cancer.
Yeah. You know what? I think he's probably made the right choice in focusing on his goddamn cancer.
Well, you would be correct, but again, to touch on popularity, he was gone for 18 months to get cigarettes.
Right, and he just came back and had, like, what, 13 million people?
16,000.
16,000 people.
There was easily $1,000 in super chats before he even showed up to start super chat. To start the show.
No,
there was easily 1,000 in super chat.
There were 10,000 people waiting.
So, well, no, like the super
20
chat.
minutes before.
There were like, I showed up first like an hour and a half, and there was thousands super chats just flowing in.
Yeah, there were hundreds of super chats coming in like 4 hours before it started.
So what you're saying is, I got to go talk to my partner to get the Executioner Indiegogo going again, and then I got to come talk to you guys about talking to Jim, being like, Jim, can you drop a single sentence shill for me, and I will instantly go from nobody to pro.
I mean,
no, Jim doesn't do that.
No,
Jim doesn't do that.
I mean, I'm entirely certain he doesn't. It's just funny to say.
Also, he lives in Minnesota.
Super chat him.
Yeah, he also lives in Minnesota, and he and Ricada know each other.
I don't know Ricada.
Do they actually know each other personally?
I don't think they know each other personally.
Oh, okay. Because I never was able to figure that out. It's like it kind of seems like they live in the same town by the way they talk.
They probably live within an hour. They probably live within an hour of each other from the sound of it.
Well, I mean that's Minnesota.
So for 18 months he was in the quickening, and now he has returned to us because they're going to be only one.
Mm-mm. And he did an omnibus stream about all the stupid things that he cares about on the internet that happened over the last 18 months.
Yeah, in an hour, and then spent an hour reading select super chats. He probably made easy $5,000 in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna collectively half-ass the stream.
Yes. Actually, so that's the other thing, Rune. We are actually better at running a stream, technically speaking, than he is.
Yes.
He just shows up and says whatever.
Mm-hmm. And smokes cigarettes.
Mm.
But it's okay because they're chemotherapy flavored cigarettes.
Right.
Right.
Camel
Chemo brand cigarettes.
Yeah, camel filter and Karka flavored cigarettes.
You can tell because that's the only one that still has the Joe the Camel symbol. He's a Joe the Camel on a feed with a pole.
I've got
and it looks really sick.
That's not my hump. That's a tumor.
I've got a Google Drive link for the collected work of one Mr. Medicare. If you're interested in listening to some of his content.
I used to pay attention to Medicare as well until Medicare lost his fucking mind.
That's Jim. Medicare is Jim.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, which time are you talking about when he lost his mind?
Well, specifically because he was hanging out with the aristocrat, and it's really more the aristocrat.
Jim is the aristocrat.
He is the aristocrat. Okay. So what the fuck am I thinking of? It might have been. No, it was probably one of the times he was talking with a cod then.
Oh yeah.
Also, he was.
You got to hear the suit string.
Yeah, he was also part of a collective group of trolls that H Bomber guy was a part of at one point in time.
Right. I remember. Well, yeah, that's the thing. I know H Bomber guy. That's the thing. It's like to place where I followed. I was more aware of him during Gamergate, than currently.
And the reason what he's most known.
And the reason I felt out of following with Gamergate is because after Total Biscuit passed on, may he meddle in heaven, it became less about honesty in advertising and the fact that this woman, Zoe Quinn, never forget, banged her way to fucking global attention.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you not do the same thing if you could?
Also, she had to crowdfund herself money when she was on vacation in Japan, and she was asking for a place to do cocaine and LSD in Tokyo.
Here's the thing, Ayrton. In the first, if I had to bang my way to victory, the people I banged would enjoy it. But in the second, the product I would make with my bang money would be qualitative.
I'm just saying. I have a 10 out of 10. All 5-star review of eating pussy so far.
Regardless, the thing is that when it stopped being about we deserve good games and we deserve people who are going to present that information to us honestly so we can choose good games, right? When it stopped being about that and started being about we hate the women because the women ruin everything, I stopped paying attention.
Well, no, it was never about that.
It absolutely became that. That's the problem.
That's the marketing.
That is not the marketing. I listened to the chats. It absolutely became that for certain key people.
I'm gonna send you a link.
They could no longer differentiate between the political ideology that they were struggling against and the economic positionality that was the actual problem. And this is how corpos get away with it. By subdividing and making us waste our time on things that don't fucking matter.
Alright, so now that you know that the internet aristocrat / Mr. Medicare is Jim, we can actually start the show proper.
Excellent.
Alright. Play that funky music, Ayrton.
He doesn't play the music.
Oh.
But
Have
he's
you
the
ever
music
considered
man.
Have you
I was
ever
just
considered?
reaching for my bass. And technically, yes.
There is a sixth dimension beyond that which is known to man. A multiverse as vast as eternity, as timeless as the infinity gems. It is the middle ground between the big two and the indie publishers, between sci-fi and mysticism, and it lies between the pages of the reader's imagination. At the summit of entertainment, the dimension of comics, where a humble service is held. We call this service the Gospel of Comics.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, the Church of Failure, and with me, as always, is my trusty co-host, Ayrton McCartney. How you doing today, buddy? It doesn't matter how you're doing. We're also joined by Larry Bernard and RuneKnight. How you guys doing?
I think part of the opening is actually
It still doesn't matter.
I'm just saying. I'm not sure that we're actually humble in any context.
Why
I said trusty.
I
trusty.
I had lots of delicious rainbow sherbet, so I'm having a good time.
Okay, good. I had some bourbon ice cream the other night. It was delicious.
Oh, right on.
I found out.
Oh wow, mechanical
I
math's
think
here.
Asians get the Asian rosacea. So.
Good.
Oh, so we're talking about Shang-Chi tonight?
Well, the only comics that I've been reading in the last week have been the Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin and Go-Go, respectively. So that's where I've been.
Well, do we want to talk about Tony Bella being an angry old man again on the internet?
I mean, before we dig into that, I do want to throw out that at the behest of Razor Fist, for people who are in the Razor Force and know him, my call to fame recently was I read the first 100 issues of the return of Laird to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and was surprised to find it didn't make my face hurt.
Well, I mean, it's a good comic.
Well, I mean, I read the original run, which was pretty good, but I skipped a lot of the intermediate stuff, and for the longest time, it's like, yes, when I was a little kid, I liked Turtles. I'm an adult now. It's not a thing that I go out of my way to expose myself to. But this came highly recommended, so I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And I was like, you know what? You were correct. That 100 issues was the 100 issues to read, and that last issue was the issue to stop on. Yeah. Absolutely.
No, I felt that way again, especially when it comes to a lot of the nostalgia marketing that's going on. But with Power Rangers, when it first came back, I was like, I'm going to see how far this stretches out, because I hate finding myself in a situation like the Black Monday murders, where I really, really like something and it's not done, or there's not enough of it.
Hey, it may be coming to Substack.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll
get there.
Yeah, now you have to.
We'll get We'll get there. We'll get there. Let me have my moment of enjoyment. I've actually been enjoying books for the most part. So I got a wild hair up my ass. I looked around and I'm like, okay, so Power Rangers is still being published by Boom in some form or fashion. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Go Power Rangers, respectively, I think are at an end. However, they are releasing a series called Mighty Morphin, end title, and Power Rangers, end title. So 2 books, Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, coming out. I haven't quite gotten to those yet, but I'm finishing up the last story arc in the Mighty Morphin Go series. There are 3 story arcs in those titles collected, because you're supposed to read them kind of staggered with one another after a certain point. And what I've found is that there are 3 overarching storylines that tie together. The first one is the story of Lord Draken, which is the one that most people are probably familiar with because it was in all the advertising media. Evil Tommy, right?
No, is the second one Batman Beyond?
No. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
I haven't gotten to that revelation yet. Don't spoil it, you fuck. I told you that in confidence.
I mean, I disagree with you, but we'll get there.
No, you didn't. You said that in our group chat with like 7 people.
Shh. I told you all that in confidence. Anyway.
Ayrton, you should know better than to share what church shares in drunken confidence.
That's right. Now, as I was saying, you get the story of Lord Draken, which is evil Tommy. He never left Rita even after they broke the brainwashing. Spoiler alerts, he eventually gets defeated by the Rangers. A complete army of Rangers join together and destroy him after he's recreated the world in his own image. Therefore, reforming the timeline. Kind of weird. And, creating the Empowered. Okay, well, that's the third story arc. The second story arc is what happens in the middle of that, where a giant spaceship loaded up with, like, second-tier Rangers that nobody would typically care about are floating through
Like
space.
Xenu?
Basically.
Okay.
This story does a good job of explaining how there's so many Ranger arcs and all that good stuff in a continuity that can be digested by a crowd that might just be getting introduced to these characters for the first time. So again, another point in the favor. But the second story arc revolves around this giant spaceship. You've got some Rangers that have powers on a limited capacity and some that don't at all. Basically, they're the power source. Everybody succeeds and gets home at the end of the day, blah, blah, blah. Typical Ranger shit. But it is told in a way and stretched over a period of time where, again, it's not so bad. And there are little, like, lighthearted inserts where you get the story of Bulk and Skull, who have been modernized to be Power Rangers podcasters and YouTubers. So, yeah, that's it works actually. It works.
Yeah, but I mean, doesn't that mean that we're Bulk and Skull?
I have no problem with that.
I'm just saying, that means they're going to be like the most grievous shit posters.
Yeah, I'm Bulk, Ayrton, Skull.
Right.
That's
no.
You're the skinny one. Fuck you.
I just want to point out: do the rest of you also hate YouTubers and podcasters, even though we're on YouTube doing a podcast?
No.
It very much depends on who it is.
I mean, I hate the idea of everyone deciding like, I don't tell people that I'm a podcaster or a YouTuber because I'm not. I'm some asshole that streams to a platform that allows me to do so once a week or twice a week. And I'm not making any money off of this shit. I'm not doing this as a career. I'm not even here to satisfy an audience. I'm here to satisfy my own need to sit down and talk shit with people that I don't work with or live with once a week so that I don't go fucking crazy.
That's fair.
My mom and I like to get up in the morning, have breakfast, and like watch Splattercat, a guy who does game reviews for indie games, and Markiplier, and it's inoffensive podlum that doesn't hurt nobody, and that's fine. Right? And we watch Markiplier because, dear God, no one should watch PewDiePie. What the fuck's wrong with you? But on the other hand,
his meme review is all right.
But on the other hand, if you ever want to see me fucking lose my shit, right? We can have a night of the gospel of role playing games and go talk about the fucking fuck faces over at Taking 20. And the fucking WebDM and Nerdarchy and the little circle jerk they got talking about how good each of them is in their absolutely wrong and fucking bullshit interpretations of games they don't fucking play.
Rune.
Well,
Rune.
no, hold
on, Larry. Hold on. No, stop, Larry. Let me get in. Rune.
Yeah.
You know that's the entire point that I brought you on for. Like, I figured we would eventually work our way into having a Gospel of Role-Playing segment where you did just that.
Oh, sure, but I'm not, like, gonna force it and be like, hey, guys...
It's not forced. Like, I might have been wasted, but I think we've talked about this before. Like, I encouraged that. Like, that's kind of what it was.
Probably, but the thing is, I come here and I actually want to talk about games, and I want to talk about comics... But I want to talk about comics, so let's talk about comics.
Yeah. So,
about that subject.
Yeah. So the hot thing in comics right now is all the big creators going to Substack, and most people are going, well, what the heck's this Substack deal? So Substack is a platform that does newsletters. I currently have one, but I'm not a sponsored Substack creator. And all sorts of people have been chased out of the journalism profession, moved to Substack, now have subscription-based models. People like Matt Taibbi, Michael Tracy are two of the more famous ones. Andrew Sullivan's another one. So they've been making good money and they've been bringing in eyeballs. So what Substack has done is they've went to people like Chip Zdarsky and says, hey, we're going to give you money. And actually, apparently, Chip Zdarsky says, hey, we're going to not only give you money, we're going to give you a percentage of money if you get other people in comics to show up and become content providers on our platform. So what they're doing is they're getting artists, they're creating comics that are going to be distributed digitally through the Substack platform. And there's probably going to be a lot of, creating of content that's going to be in the mailing list. They're going to be like saying, hey, check out this cool character we're making. It's for this comic book called Blottity Blah, which is all about, a Zoomer who just says blottity blah about things. But in actuality, whenever she says blottity blah, it's because there's horrible monsters in the background that only she could see. And she's trying to distract people from the monsters.
Is it Arm Fall Off Boy, the comic?
I mean, it could be. Because, Jonathan Hickman...
Does this sound okay?
Yeah, it sounds okay. Also, Hickman's gone to Substack, so an Arm Fall Off Boy comic by Jonathan Hickman sounds exactly in his wheelhouse. So they're gonna produce this comic digitally, and they're gonna have enough money to produce a monthly version of this comic digitally. And then what they could do next is they can roll and do a crowdfunding to make an omnibus for this book and sell it as a prestige format graphic novel. So what Substack does is they pay these people money to bring people onto the platform and subscribe. And then depending on how the whole structure works is, they get a percentage off the subscription base, or they get a percentage on the subscription base after the initial investment goes in.
That sounds like a pyramid scheme.
Well, it's not a pyramid scheme.
How is it not a pyramid scheme?
but is there not one at the top and it keeps building out?
No.
More and more people at the bottom?
There are people like Zdarsky who are getting paid to bring other people in. But it's all about the people at the top, which is the corporation, which has a lot of venture capital money paying content creators to bring people in. And those content creators pay people in to buy a subscription to watch their content.
Okay. And then those people who are buying subscriptions can recommend their friends and family, right?
Well, it's like any subscription-based service. It's not something like they make a percentage on. So you subscribe to Jonathan
so it's a
Hickman's
shitty pyramid
newsletter.
scheme.
Well, no, church. Multi-level marketing is actually something that more people lose money on than illegal pyramid schemes. So you need to talk more respectfully about pyramid schemes.
All right. So Substack has nothing to do with comics, right? Like that's what you're telling me. It's a newsletter service.
It's a newsletter service that has hired a lot of comics creators to bring people in because they figure there's money to be made in doing this. Now, you could technically do the same service with Patreon, but there's a whole lot of better features to do this with Substack. And also, Substack is becoming a place where contrary voices in the media are congregating because major corporate media is forcing them out.
Right, but the thing is like Chip and company, they're not contrary, they're insiders. So what you're actually describing is people who made it fucking up an industry and then moving into a side
no,
where they can continue to do different things.
Hold on,
no. These are the people who actually generate sales in the ruined industry who weren't actually part of the ruined industry.
Right.
Zdarsky was for a little bit.
These are the white guys that got forced out for being white guys.
Yeah, like Scott Snyder's going to Substack.
Yeah, like all the problematic guys were out, and then they were like, okay, well, there's nobody else really problematic around here, so let's just go after all the rest of the white guys.
See, my boggle, right, where my problem came in with hearing about Substack was for the first time, is, hey, look, I get to talk about games. I'm a Castlevania fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always have been. And for the longest time, Castlevania was just kind of a half-hearted property, but they got a guy in there who really gave a shit and made them a bunch of money with a bunch of amazing games. Okay? And when Konami decided, hey, we're not actually going to do games anymore, we're just going to do pachinko machines because we're a front for the mob, right? They kicked that guy to the curb, right? Now, this guy had a legacy of excellent games behind him. Could have gone to work for any fucking company, right? He's not a can-do kid. He's already done it, right? But what he did instead is he went to, not Indiegogo, the other service of note,
Kickstarter.
Yeah, and he got crowdfunding for Bloodstained, right? Which is Castlevania with the serial numbers filed off as a giant fuck you to Konami. Now, mind you, I'm all totally behind fuck you, Konami. Giant middle fingers to the man, go with it. But my brain was always like, wait a minute. Why is he going to the consumer to fund his game when he could sell this game anywhere and succeed?
Because he has less strings if the consumer's financing the game?
Bullshit. It's not even that. It's literally because he can extort more money out of us. Because he knows that we are slovenly animals that will eat whatever he throws our way. Okay? Even if he's a nice guy, the fact of the matter is that I have a serious problem with the idea of professionals, patronizing the consumer with product when it's like, no, these things should be for up-and-comers. People who don't have the opportunity to create product, who desperately want to, because the fact of the matter is how am I, or you, or any of the indies we know, right, who are struggling along, going to compete with headlining names in crowdfunding, right? Substack, whatever the fuck it is, sounds like an amazing medium for people who could not get onto Diamond to get their materials out and get them seen. But
well, I mean, Comixology, but yes.
Comixology is one. I've actually looked into Comixology, and I'm not quite sure how it functions. Right? Like, there's a lot of people trying to create occlusions so that you can't find your way to, I want to sell my product directly to the market and have people buy it and love it.
Here's a sad truth.
How do you compete with Chip?
Here's the sad truth, though, Rune. Is exactly what you're saying worked, and worked really well for indie consumers for so long that now the professionals are coming in and saying this is a more profitable way to do business, and we can run it. It's just like that one time
Kevin Smith has made his last 2 movies financed this way, where most of the financing was done by crowdfunding.
Right. And the problem is not that it's a professional doing it. The problem is that the professional outshines everyone else. Jack Black started a YouTube channel and had 1 million subscribers before he even had an intro video posted.
Right.
Yeah, except Jim has done better streaming on YouTube than Brie Larson.
Well, sure, but she still had more subscribers than we'll ever have before she ever posted a video.
And see, the thing that I have, because people have this confusion, right? They're like, well, name equal quality, ergo good. No. The quality of the product is the quality of the product. The name associated with it does not actually mean that it's good. I'm going to say the most controversial thing ever, and it's going to get you 1 million views, or they're going to kill us. Okay?
I'm fine with either.
Either one.
I have heard a lot about it. I have listened to the man. I have seen his art. People who are excited about it, more power to you. I don't actually think Cyberfrog is going to be any kind of good for anyone, and I have no interest to actually fucking see it.
I mean, I got the first book.
Is it good?
No.
The
art's phenomenal. The story's garbage. No.
I mean, I got a.
I'll disagree. I thought the
story
was fun.
Kyle Ritter's
one at a time.
Kyle Ritter's coloring was good.
Right, but the follow up is: do you feel you got your money's worth?
Well, hold on.
Or do you feel you're taking for a
Let
ride?
Ayrton get in. Let Ayrton get in.
Okay. Go.
I'm gonna say the art was good. I thought the story was fun in a goofy, nostalgic way. but the printing quality was dog shit.
Printing quality was adequate.
Here's the problem that I have. I paid $50 for an incomplete story. In a world where when I pay $50 for a comic book, typically it comes with a hardcover and a little ribbon bookmark and a seal of authenticity or some shit or an autograph.
Think of what you could have gotten if you spent $50 on Alterna.
Think of what you could get if you spend $50 in a back issue bin bumfuck nowhere and run across 3 or 4 Death of Superman comics for 50 cents that are $7 a piece. Okay, that really what it boiled down to is that Cyberfrog was a flash in the pan of, there's a pro in Comicsgate right now. That's all it was. There was nothing special. Like, I keep all of my CG books together. I enjoyed reading it, but I didn't enjoy that to be continued at the end when I spent $50. Because that means I have to spend $50. I have to spend $150 for what essentially equates to a 3-issue story arc.
Don't you mean at $200?
What do you mean?
Because it'll be 4 issues.
Oh, he extended it to 4 now.
Yeah.
It's going to be... That's the thing. It's going to be as many issues as he can keep making money off of it. Well, so the real question is, why can't you spend $250 to get 12 issues for a year?
You mean like what Regs does?
And then I realized it was a crustacean from the Cretaceous period.
Hey, way to bring it back to Power Rangers. They fought that villain in the books.
But you know that's what Regs does with their platform is they get enough money on Patreon that they release a regular Patreon of a comic book, and then you get the physical copy later.
I did not have this knowledge, but I always am a fan of things that harken back to how it was back in the day, where you paid for a subscription and you waited for your fucking book to arrive in the mail, and the book you got better damn well be qualitative because you fucking paid in advance. Because what I'm getting at here is that the consumer deserves quality for their investment, and the creator deserves fair pay for their labor. These are truisms.
You're talking mad Gamergate over there.
I know, right? I'm clearly talking alt-right evil.
Well,
on the platform for the alt-right influencer.
I want to diverge real quick. I wouldn't be as annoyed if Wrecked Planet would have come out 18 months ago like it was supposed to.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with Galactic Rodents and Mayhem. I'll break my silence on that.
I went for the lowest tier. What was it, $20-$25 for Wrecked Planet and the first Cyberfrog? That's what I went for. And I feel like I got my money's worth out of the first one. The second one, no, fuck that shit. I'm pissed as fuck about that.
Yeah.
Coming out with fucking Unforgettable Tales and his goddamn little retarded fucking figurines and shit. No,
and a coloring book and some 3-ring binders.
Oh, yeah.
And merchandise like beanies and hoodies.
Right. Where's the fucking book that I backed a year and a fucking half ago, you goddamn fucker?
Well, it's the thing. Right. It's the same thing with Galactic Rodents and Mayhem. Like, we backed that book all excitedly.
Yeah.
And, before that book came out, 2 other projects had been fulfilled. And 2 shipping dates had been missed. I mean, it really makes it hard to look at this like anybody's taking it seriously. And that's
right. And I'm still hoping it's a good book. Like I'm still hoping it's going to be a good, fun story.
Here's the thing, though. I don't care anymore.
I mean, I don't either. But if once we eventually get it, I'm hoping I'll at least enjoy reading it.
Well, sure.
Because I spent money on it. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna call this the free shill minute, because there is in fact a book that I have backed that I am still excited about. yes, I'm excited about the buckler, but I mean, I haven't actually had a word edgewise with its name fell back. That's like I said, I haven't talked to him in a while. Yeah, I haven't talked to Dillard in a while because I've been busy working. I've been trying to actually get some fucking words on paper in between taking care of my mom with no sleep. But no, Beardzerker. Don Chen Beardzerker, I am still getting updates almost every day about Beardzerker. I am surprisingly invested in this book because I know the person working on it is actively working on it and telling me about it. And I appreciate the hell out of that. Because, yet again, you want to talk about fuck-ups? Do you want to talk about fuck-ups? Let me tell you about Sanguine Games and their current product. They're working on a pirate-based accessory for their game line. It was supposed to be out last year. They extended it. They said it's going to be out in fucking July. What month is it? And not a word.
It's almost September, bro.
Yeah, not a word. For months. And you know why I haven't heard a word? Because I'm not on their Discord. You know why I'm not on their Discord? Even though they have a Kickstarter and it has a section where you're supposed to keep your people updated. I'm not on their Discord because when I was on their Discord, they ran me out for being a bigot.
Well, because, you're on the show.
Everything I say is just dripping with fucking bigotry.
Well, no, they just caught you on this show and they just knew.
No, I wasn't even on this show when they ran me out.
Somebody from the future told them.
Yeah, no. Clearly, somebody from a Bill and Ted future said, "Get this guy out of here. He will only lead to your destruction."
Right.
I mean, it was probably Slade, because Slade Wilson has become relevant again, even though he did things in the past that were not relevant then.
No,
but we're now complaining about.
That was Bloodsport. That wasn't Deadshot.
Well, no, I'm talking about Slade. I'm not talking about Deadshot.
I mean, we can talk about how Bloodsport is basically Deadshot because Idris Elba is just an upgraded Will Smith.
Well, no, I was trying to segue into the Tony Isabella complaint about how your boy Slade is a pedophile and how he's highlighting
We've talked about that before. We've talked about his obsession with Tara.
Is it relevant again?
Yes. 3 days ago,
we got to talk about Dan Slott first. We got to talk about Dan Slott first, Larry.
I mean,
give me a palate.
Why don't we just treat Dan Slott the way he treats us and block him?
Because Ethan Van Sciver does that too when you talk shit about him.
I mean, I personally like the name I've heard.
No, go ahead.
I like the name I've heard. What was it? Scotto Blocktavius?
No, Slotto Blocktavius.
Slotto Blocktavius, yeah. Well, here's the thing. I just want to point out, let's not ever forget that Marvel paid and had produced an hour-long just hit piece on Dan Slott.
On how he's a lazy...
Wait a minute, no. Well, let's be clear. An hour-long hit piece on Dan Slott, starring Dan Slott, talking about how Dan Slott's a sloppy waste of space.
How he's lazy and he has poor impulse control and he wastes his time yelling at people on Twitter.
Yeah. And what I find absolutely fucking hilarious is he can't even do the Marvel method right.
Right, no.
Here's a weird segue. I don't have a problem with the Marvel method. I think the Marvel method is genius. Because I have in fact used it in variation to figure out what to do with my own book that I'm working on, right? Because it's like, man, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I got to get this story going. It's like, okay, well, what if blank? It's like, okay, and then what? Well, what if blank and blank? It's like, okay, and then what? And it's like, well, what if blank, blank, and blank? It's like, okay, this is a narrative. I can work with this. It's intelligent. Unfortunately, apparently, Slott, who is fucking paid by Marvel, does this like a fucking ham-fisted 3-year-old smashing his face on a keyboard. So, I don't know, man.
Well,
you know what, Rune? You should write an entire script by just the autofill function.
I mean, do it.
You could do that with AI Dungeon.
I mean, I am a contentious fuck because remember, I'm not a fan of Axe Cop, but that's literally what Axe Cop is.
And you hate fun.
Yeah, but I mean that is what Axe Cop is. Axe Cop is literally an artist talking to his son, and his son tells stories.
No, it was his kid brother.
His brother, yeah.
Kid brother.
I thought it was the actual kid. Wow.
No, it is.
Kid.
People have
20s.
babies in their 30s and 40s, Rune.
Yeah, I know.
Well, people also have babies in their teens, Rune.
So, Church, did both of those things happen to you?
Yes.
Look,
I'm not in my 40s yet, but
had a Congress in the back of a car, and mistakes were made.
No, we had Congress in a hotel room, and mistakes were made.
Mistakes,
and it wasn't really a mistake. It wasn't really a mistake. It was like, fuck it, I'm not going to wear the condom.
Proving yet again,
it was an active decision.
If only you weren't so fucking lazy.
But Church.
No, I did save Western society by being lazy. Come on now.
But Church, you can't pull out of a driveway.
Goddamn right I can't. I walk into a room and the fish stop swimming, motherfucker.
So wait a minute, Church.
I've been using the pull-out method for 7 years at this point.
So Church,
Yeah.
Does that mean if you do use a condom that you're just popping the tire?
No, I never did that. I never was that disgusting.
The condoms in his wallet are from 1994.
1974. What are you talking about? It's an inherited wallet.
He reached into the jacket to get the wallet and pulled out a Billy Bear.
Half ounce of weed, but same thing. Anyway, Dan Slott is back at Marvel after they shit talked him. And his biggest claim to fame is having 10 years on The Amazing Spider-Man, right? And let's be honest.
Which maybe one is good.
1 year or one issue?
We'll say 1 year. We'll say 1 year out of 10, which could be like bits and pieces.
Like 4 issues? He's back at Marvel. He's apparently in some other controversy where he gaslit somebody. Care to explain that, Larry?
No, he didn't gaslight somebody.
No, Larry says he did, though. So let's let him.
All right. Explain it. I will scowl because you're going to describe gaslighting incorrectly. Nobody knows what that means anymore.
He convinced somebody that
don't gaslight me, Rune.
He convinced somebody that Comicsgate was a hate group, and he was actually being a bigot for being a part of it. And then he said, "Gosh, you're right. I'm so sorry." And then Slott Octavius blocked him and made fun of him behind the block.
No, that's not actually what went down at all.
No. That was the way it was described, because I didn't care that much about it. It was just Slott Octavius being an asshole to somebody who tried to.
It is still Slotto being a Blocktavius dish nozzle. What happened is this guy has a show, okay? And he was curious. He wanted to know about this thing because Dan Slott had gone on the Warpath talking about how Comicsgate was a hate group. So he brought on some Comicsgaters and said, "Look, what's the deal? What is your thing?" Right? And they were like, "Well, we believe this." Right? And then Slott went to him and said, "Hey, I liked you. I followed your product. You let me down. How could you possibly have given them platform? Don't you understand?" And he walked them through how we're a hate group, if indeed we are part of the Comicsgate, and so on, right? And the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm real sorry. I probably should not have given them a platform because I don't agree with those things that you say that they say, right?" And the guy did. He made the public mea culpa, right? And then Dan Slott proceeded to shit-talk him from behind, say that you should dox people who are Comicsgate associated, and continued to bullshit him while blocking him. And the guy turned around and said, "You know what? Fuck this noise. Fuck that guy. I didn't do anything. I apologized because I thought I was doing the right thing, and this asshole continued to fuck me over."
And then he said that you should report people because you can get their accounts locked up, and apparently that caused Bill Sienkiewicz's account to get on Facebook to get locked for promoting hate.
Yeah, he advocated for doxing, which is fucking awful. I've been doxxed. It's actually terrifying. Not like I had to go cry into my beer, horrifying, but still horrifying. You know, because you haven't lived until you've looked down the barrel of someone's assault rifle.
Don't you culturally appropriate me?
No, seriously. My former roommate, who's a little wackadoo, got into a slap fight with some numbnut on the internet, right? And because we didn't have a VPN or anything, that guy decided to fucking dox us, right? So the female housemate's out of the house. I'm fucking around on my video game. He's asleep. Right, and I see a reflection on the wall. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I get up and I walk around and I'm like, there's somebody on the porch. What the hell is this? I open the door. There's the cops about to fucking burst in with assault weapons. And I'm like,
you didn't just get doxxed, you almost got swatted.
Yeah. And I'm like, excuse me, officers, what can I do for you? And they're like, we heard there was a disturbance. It's like, there's no disturbance here, sir. Right? And apparently someone said they had heard screaming and the whatnot. And it's like, no, you know, across the street we got a guy who plays loud video games. Sometimes my housemate gets fucking loud about video games. He's like, is there anyone else in the house? I'm like, just my housemate. He's asleep. Can I go get him? He's like, yeah, why don't you go get him? So I go get his ass up. I'm like, hey, the cops are fucking here. Let's do this. Right? And he's like, you know, are there any weapons on the premises? I'm like, sir, you can come in and look. If you can find a weapon, I'll be impressed. Because I don't have a gun. Right?
I can get you one.
They put together very quickly that this was bullshit.
On the premise, just these nuts, fed boy.
Yeah, really. They put together very fucking quickly that they had been had, and you could see the cops were pissed. Not because they were going to kick in my door and they weren't going to get to do some hate crimes on somebody, but because it's like they had, you know, they could have been out catching real bad guys instead of hassling a gamer at his fucking computer.
But by the sorry, real quick, did you guys hear about China?
What thing about China?
Trying to get these nuts in your mouth. Hey-o.
I mean, unfortunately, China's dead, so.
Oh, too soon.
Too soon.
Or not soon enough.
Too soon.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Come on, I still haven't watched the porno with her in it.
I've seen it. It's pretty good.
Oh, God.
It's a beautiful
Sorry.
woman.
Yeah, I know Xbox's a beautiful woman, but that's not the point.
That's a woman?
No, I gotta admit, I had the China Playboy. I had the China Playboy. I can't. But they airbrushed the shit out of her too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had to sadly, as weird as it sounds, they had to make her a little more feminine because the amount of muscles on that woman's muscles have muscles.
Oh yeah. Well, not only that, but I mean, she was going right up against the Sable Playboy. There's no comparison.
Yeah.
Speaking of nostalgia.
Welcome to the man cave.
Speaking of old Playboy, so at the flea market near me, there's a booth that has Playboys divided by month and year, and I kind of want to go and find like March 1991 and buy that issue.
Oh, your birth year?
Yeah,
I mean, I can tell you.
Year.
I can tell you.
Well, you want to go? You want to go back 9 months? See what could have potentially inspired your creation.
I just fucking love the start of this story. Speaking of old Playboy at the local flea market, it's like, wait,
yeah, I want to get it. I want to get it in like one of the, the case thing, like the comic book cases that you can frame and put on the wall, just to piss off any future women that I get involved with.
I'm just saying, in my mind, I have this vision of Ayrton like going to an underground porn meet on the border.
It's a
Ayrton.
flea market.
Ayrton.
They sell like fucking
Ayrton.
socks and like weird. Yeah.
All right. For 1991 March, cover model was Stephanie Seymour. The centerfold model was Julie Ann Clark.
I have no idea who either of those people are.
Julianne Clark.
Let me pull up the Google. But I want to see if they have the issue because I want to get it framed and I want to hang it on my wall.
Oh yeah, that'll be great when you bring home some feminist woman.
You think I would do that?
I mean, that would be the ultimate negging of a feminist woman that you bring into your house.
I think you would be happy to, yes, actually. Just to wake up the next day and tell her to make you some breakfast.
No, see, that's the thing, Church, is I wouldn't bring her home because then she would know where I live. We would go to her place. And
carry it in the back of your car so you can have it on hand.
I would DoorDash a McDonald's breakfast with a Plan B the next morning. Come on.
Oh, okay. All right. I've thought about that, like a DoorDash, but for Plan B. All I do is just write.
You just put in the comments like, "Hey, if you buy this, I'll pay for it and give you an extra $20." And
yeah.
I mean, really, if Amazon truly wanted to be a service model, they'd be making a drone that fast delivers Viagra. Just...
So I have a friend who secretly gave her boyfriend an experimental ED drug just to see what would happen.
Oh boy!
She said it was fucking awesome.
So,
that's a form of rape.
So comic books sure are a thing, aren't they, everybody?
They are. Man, Julianne Clark, she's pretty hot.
Yeah. I've got to know who was the centerfold my birth month and year.
I mean, we talked about Slotto. We talked about
I want to know more.
Substack.
Church. So I'm curious. How was Batman Beyond basically Power Rangers?
Oh yeah, I never did get to that.
Fill this out more for me because my brain actually needs to.
All right.
Even though I successfully
shut
defeated
the fuck up, Larry. Larry, nobody likes it when you split hairs, Larry. You're like fucking dehydrate, like just dry hair and dandruff is what you are. No. Okay, so let's look at Batman Beyond as a character by himself. Okay, Batman, the world's greatest detective, self-made superhero, took it upon himself to learn all these martial arts and investigative tactics, built all of his own gadgets, designed all of his own costumes, everything. And then Terry McGinnis just fucking fumbles into the goddamn Batcave and puts on a bat suit that happens to be basically a fucking mech suit. Okay? So
the Iron Bat, as it
were. Right. But the thing is, the difference is, unlike Iron Man, you have a Bruce Wayne in the command center of sorts, being the Batcave. You have a Bruce Wayne sitting there just at your beck and call whenever you need help to strategize or to get out of a situation or to, have some kind of information on an enemy. You've got a Zordon there in Bruce Wayne. Okay? And you need a new gadget, you need a new weapon, you need some reinforcements. You've got all of that on hand because of Bruce Wayne, a.k.a. Zordon. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. Batman Beyond is just Batman the Power Ranger.
Or, Kamen Rider.
Which is just fucking Power Rangers.
I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to have to explain the Skullman to people.
Get into
it. But what I will say is that this is clearly the opinion of someone. This is clearly the opinion of someone who has not seen totality of Batman Beyond, and that's not your fault. That's Bruce Timm's fault because he couldn't fucking stand up to WB, and they had to let him sneak in a final episode of Batman Beyond in fucking Justice League. Okay. Because everybody
and it wasn't a good final episode of Batman Beyond.
Sadly, it was not, because they decided to waste their time with fucking shit about Dana instead of punching bad guys in the face. But anyone who's watching knows that Terry McGinnis is a fucking Batman clone, and there was nothing accidental about this discovery. It was all planned by Amanda Waller, because Amanda Waller's a dumb cunt who seems to think that she needs to clone superheroes for the good of mankind. Because she actually thinks that that's going to be a good idea. And it's like, well, I couldn't clone Superman, but I needed to clone a superhero, so we cloned Batman instead, and then artificially inseminated some other dude with Batman's genes, because that's how cloning works, which is not how anything works in science, ever.
Now, could you clone Hal Jordan and, like, still convince Oa and the Guardians to give him a ring?
No. There's a better question.
And give him a 13-year-old alien to bang.
You're saying they injected Bruce Wayne's genes into Terry McGinnis's mother or father
No,
or Terry McGinnis?
No, they put him in his dad's testicle.
Okay.
Seriously.
How did they?
This
No.
is how this works.
No. Here's the real question, though. How did they
Okay.
get the denim through the syringe?
What denim? What the fuck do you want about?
Yeah,
Genes. The other word for genes.
You spit on it, Church.
I was confused by the slacks, but no, we are to believe we are led to believe.
Wait, hold on, Rune. You're just glossing over the worst pun that Church has ever said on the show, and just straight on going into trying to explain logically how. I love it.
I will want to get him back, but not today. Seriously, though. You gotta think about the dumbness here. You gotta think about how fucking stupid this is.
No, Church literally just fell off the comic book equivalent of a stack of milk crates. You're just like, fuck it. Let's explain this.
Oh god! I had to. I was. The power compelled me.
Worse than you know.
Rune,
It's worse than you know.
Joe, you're the best.
Here's the thing. So we are to believe that in a given fight, Batman got fucked up because Batman was getting older, right? So Batman sat his ass on the back of an ambulance.
And he stuck those acid wash apple bottom jeans up.
No, even better. We are led to believe that the guy who gave him a fucking injection, and I want to know how it is exactly that you give Batman an injection, and why Batman will let you have his DNA with which he can be identified. Right? He injected him through the suit in his arm. Because, fucking dudes in the fucking EMT have syringes sharp enough to perforate whatever fucking super weave the bat suit's made of.
Super weave.
Right?
Look for it at your local CVS.
Yeah, but then here's the thing.
7-Eleven, motherfucker.
Here's the thing. Somehow, Amanda Waller gets this blood sample. Unadulterated.
I dated a girl when I lived in Chicago whose street name was Super Weave.
We gotta stop at this. We gotta stop at this 7-Eleven so I can get some ketchup chips and Super Weave.
Gets this blood sample, unadulterated, no chemicals in it, no shit. She runs it through the fucking Cadmus program, right? To make a fucking supercharged fucking Wayne dose, right?
She did.
And then stick it in some guy's nuts.
No, it's not stuck in his nuts. They inject him in the arm, but that's the thing. They inject him in his bloodstream and fundamentally change the chemical makeup of his body. He doesn't get sick. He doesn't fucking die. He doesn't change his hair or eye color. But
it just changes the DNA. It just changes the DNA in his testicle.
Rune. That's because it was FDA approved.
Right,
and
it was designed specifically for arm testicles.
Let's also consider that of all the human beings she could have chose, she didn't choose a fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. She didn't choose a genius. She didn't choose anyone with fucking moral rectitude. She chose the most limp-wristed, whiny accountant. A fucking accountant in fucking Gotham City.
Don't talk
Hey,
about churches
like-
bad like that.
Look, accountants are the biggest criminals on the face of the fucking planet, Rune.
Right, so,
Well, I mean, they're up there with lawyers.
now,
Yeah.
now, here's the thing. This is the deranged part of this episode. As if that wasn't stupid enough, right? Waller's thought process is that, okay, so we made a bat clone, but it's been raised by other humans who are going to have different life experiences than Bruce Wayne. Never mind Bruce Wayne was rich, never mind Bruce Wayne was brilliant, never mind Bruce Wayne was the sum total of centuries of fucking lottery that could lead up to a human dynamo, right?
He was the White City Father patriarch.
Only thing that makes Batman Batman is fucking street crime dead parents.
Well,
right?
hold up. You're saying a lot of things that are all true. You're missing out on. You're not focusing on the worst part of that whole episode.
Right, the court. Well,
What,
hold
you mean
on.
the fact
Let's
that
not
Batman
forget.
lets a little girl die?
No.
Okay.
The worst part of that whole episode was the fact that the whole point of Terry McGinnis's character is Batman wasn't about being rich, wasn't about being the winner of the genetic lottery. It was about your willingness to do the right thing and stand up and fight crime and put on the suit. That was the whole point of Terry McGinnis's character, which got entirely destroyed in that one episode.
I'm getting to that because this all entirely hinges on the idea that Waller went to Batwoman, Batgirl, and said, "Hey, you're the daughter of Commissioner Gordon. Will you put on the costume of this dead supervillain and commit a fucking murder to create a Batman?" And only at the last minute did she say, "You know what? Maybe I'm not okay."
I actually thought that was Phantasm.
No, Phantasm's been dead for fucking decades by this point. That was Barbara in the costume, and at the last minute she relented and said, "I can't do this to a child. Just let him have a wonderful life." And then they happened into it by accident that Joker's happened to kill his family. By accident. Because it wasn't Waller setting it up. She would never do that, right? Right?
And also, by this point in time, Barbara was the police commissioner.
Right, so we have the police commissioner complicit in a conspiracy to commit murder. Vicious, brutal, traumatizing murder with a knife in front of a child to make a Batman. Because that's all you fucking need to make Batman.
I mean, that's what Father O'Malley told me when I was in 7th grade.
Yeah, but Ayrton, Father O'Malley just touched you repeatedly. You didn't actually do any horrible murders to your family.
That's all it took for me to become Batman when I was, 8 years old.
Anyway.
By the way, do we still want to try and get a hold of the Petoskey Batman up here in Michigan and try and interview him?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
We should watch the Turkish Batman movie, and we should
Lord
review
Church
it.
fucking commands it.
Look, serious talk for a minute.
I'll get one of my hosts that's on Facebook to try and
I cannot find him, and I wouldn't have him on the show because I don't actually believe in exploiting people with mental illness. I think it's wrong.
I do.
But I will point out, I'm 100% serious, we are in fact bound by this connection. Because there is a guy here in Lacey, Olympia, who we colloquially refer to as Batman. Doesn't look like Bruce Wayne, doesn't dress up in a bat suit, but he thinks he is, and you can find him running around town on little excursions doing God knows what. Little balding dude who's talking to himself.
Dude, Rune, I don't know if you were here for this episode that we talked about this. So, the Petoskey Batman.
No, I was here.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we used pictures of him once for the Gospel of Darkness.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, for anybody listening who might not know, he is a fat, tubby dude that has gone out in a really shitty Batman costume trying to fight crime in Petoskey, Michigan, which is a tourist destination of like 6,000 to 8,000 people. So there's hardly any crime, and got arrested recently, maybe the last 4 years, by hanging off of a building by a fucking grappling hook and throwing shit at people.
Was he screaming, "I am the Knight"?
I'm not sure. I'd have to pull the article back up. But motherfucker has a Facebook page. I'm just not on Facebook, so I'm gonna need somebody else to go and try and get a hold of it.
So while we are sitting here being shitlords, I do actually want to bring up, because I actually got to mention it. I have to mention Shang-Chi. We do in fact have to mention it.
Do we have to?
Because of the link I just shared in the chat, but I will read the headline for people who can't see it. New Marvel star accused of cultural appropriation. Fans plan Shang-Chi boycott.
Well, I mean, that's because the Chinese government is behind that.
Wait,
I know.
Wait. Hold on.
What chat? On Twitter?
Yeah, on the twat space.
Twitter. Yeah.
Oh.
It's the only place you pay attention to, Church.
So
I pay attention to the Discord on show nights.
So the Asian dude that has the rosacea and the slanty eyes is being accused of cultural appropriation.
Yes.
In the movie, Americans made to pander to China in the hopes of getting the China dollars that China was never going to give them.
Because they actually literally did pandering to China the worst way possible. And the Chinese government...
nuts in your mouth.
And the Chinese government is organizing this propaganda counter-campaign to call it cultural appropriation.
Worse than when John Cena tries to say he's sorry.
I mean, I couldn't see that video.
So you see, he's a Canadian Chinese.
Right.
And he's not part of the true Chinese experience, but he's portraying the Chinese experience.
Yeah.
What?
And the villain is an actual mainland Chinese.
Right. Even though he's called the Mandarin and was never Chinese to begin with, and is part of the imperial past that China doesn't want to admit they had, because that runs counter to, the glorious People's Republic.
You can't do imperial stories, but not making the Imperium itself looking good. But the heroes could be good in an imperial context.
Except, of course, when your name is Jet Li and the movie you're doing is called Hero.
Which is a movie glorifying genocide.
Right. Because somehow General
hold on. Ayrton, all you need to know is this.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
But seriously,
cool. later.
But yeah, the movie Hero, the moral of the movie is that China needs a strong leader who's willing to kill millions of people to make China great again. That's literally the moral of the movie.
Right.
I want number one.
The assassins who trained their entire lives to murder Emperor Qin decided at the last minute not to do it because, he's what's needed in order for the three Chinas to become one. Supposedly.
That's the movie.
That's actually the movie.
Wait, which movie?
Hero.
Oh, Hero.
Alright. At one point there were three Chinas, it's called the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, that were in perpetual warfare.
Yeah, it's the whole Dynasty Warriors plot.
The first emperor of China is called Emperor Qin. Okay? And he was a megalomaniacal psychopath who was in fact strong enough to conquer and wield those three kingdoms together.
That's because he's named after a fucking body part. Of course.
He
also you ignorant redneck. Chin. CHIN.
That's also a body part.
He also built a wall and made his workers pay for it by being buried inside it when they died.
We all know that human bodies make great mortar.
And he made the absolutely coolest tomb complex that isn't in Egypt.
I don't know. Hadrian made a better wall.
Hadrian made a fucking fence.
It still worked better than the China wall. I'm just saying.
Only because the China wall was completed.
Yeah.
But
Shang-Chi is
the Terracotta Warriors. That's Shin's fucking burial mound. It's amazing.
So, but the gist is they're making a Chinese figure be the corrupt villain, which the Chinese government doesn't like in the movies that come into their country. They're having a westernized Chinese be the hero, which they don't like.
They also don't like ghosts.
They don't like ghosts. Also
they don't like that. They don't like that spooky shit.
Also, the actor who plays Shang-Chi is not attractive. They don't like that in their movies.
Oh, it's because he didn't have the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
He had square eyes. They'd like it.
Yep.
But that's not it. That's not even the. Let's talk about the thing that people are not talking.
What?
So the eye slant in China, there's eye slants for poor people that look ugly, or if you're a famous celebrity, you get your eyes treated and you look more white with your eyes.
They actually
so
they actually
you get a proper prescription so you can see properly?
No, you just change the your fold on your eye skin.
Jackie Chan's face, you can see it, but that's not even the thing, because Jackie Chan is pertinent to this. The star of Shang-Chi made a big fuck up that people are not talking about. I mean, they're talking about it in a stupid way, but they're not putting together what he actually said and why it's terrible. Okay? He said, and what he meant was like for Western audiences. Right? He meant
Which
for
is
people...
also stupid.
Stupid, but at least it makes more sense. He was trying to say for people like us, thinking we don't watch fucking martial arts movies.
No, because he was pretending like people in the Asian diaspora didn't watch the Chinese action movies.
But that's the thing. What he said is that it was a hero for the Asian community, as though they did not have one. At which point everyone said, what about Jackie Chan? What about Jet Li? What about Bruce Lee? What about Donnie Yen?
Young Fat,
who's in a Marvel movie with you. Right?
Yeah.
But Here's the thing. The reason that's a big fuck up is not because of how it pisses off China. Okay? But that pisses off fucking Jackie Chan and several other major Asian actors who have crossed the pond who are big fucking wheels in China. Right? Jackie Chan complains about doing movies in America because American movies are all about making the money and they're all about minimizing costs. So he's constantly having to work with people who aren't trained and don't know what the fuck they're doing. And so they're fucking up his movies. Right? But he talks about how if he goes to China and he wants to do 72 takes of one fucking punch, they'll let him do it. Because, whatever he makes will make $1 billion.
Yeah, the reason the American studios don't do that is they're afraid that he'll injure himself and they'll be responsible to pay for that.
I mean, now, because he's significantly older, but still, the point is that you do not talk shit about actors who have actual pull with the venue that your movie's going to.
Including actors who are in the fucking movie you're in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, does anybody on the panel here actually care about Shang-Chi as a character?
Never did.
Read any comics?
I like the original Shang-Chi. Yeah. They've horribly mutilated the character.
Right.
The only reason I even passingly want to see this movie is because I want to see
the Taliban with female genitals.
I only want to see this movie to see how they handle the Mandarin, because I want to know how they're going to tie this back into Iron Man now that Iron Man's dead.
Well, they're not tying it into Iron Man. They're going to tie it into the Eternals.
Well, fuck that bullshit, because the Mandarin is an Iron Man villain. He always has been.
Thank you, Rune. That has pissed me off so much. Hold on.
But so for
Iron Man 3. Hold on. So Iron Man 3 overall was an interesting movie diving into Tony Stark, but the way they handled the Mandarin fucking pissed me off. I wanted to see some crazy dude with a bunch of weird magic powers.
No, here's the thing. They almost did it fucking right, and then they fucked it up. Okay? Because you have the movie. The movie is it's a movie, okay? And the Mandarin is a joke because he's a fake, right?
Right.
But in between Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3, they did a fucking short with Kingsley, because Kingsley was like, sure, I'll fucking Mandarin again, I don't give a shit. Right? Where he's in prison talking about how he's a badass. Right? And in the midst of his interview, his interviewer reveals a gun, because the whole thing's a setup, and they fucking kill him. They kill Ben Kingsley's character, so Kingsley doesn't have to contract for another film. Right? Because the Mandarin exists and wants his fucking name back. And then they fucked up in Iron Man 3 by inferring the Mandarin might be the leader of AIM. played by Pierce, right?
Right.
Except it's not him either.
By Hammer.
But except it's not him either, because the Mandarin is now an Asian guy in Asia land, which he always should have been. But even that guy isn't the Mandarin, because the Mandarin's rings are not generic Asian fighting magic rings.
They're also not magic.
And he's not green. And I know that people say that doesn't fucking matter, but I'm sorry. The entire point of the Mandarin is he found an alien spacecraft, and it altered him in such a fundamental way that he's a humanoid with power rings.
Okay, well, the thing that was interesting about the Mandarin being a Tony Stark villain is he was seemingly magic, quote unquote, versus Iron Man, who is entirely technological and science.
No,
that is actually an interesting facet, because the Mandarin is basically Ra's al Ghul fighting Iron Man.
That's why I said quote unquote seemingly magic. And that's that's what made their combat interesting, is it was like magic versus technology. Right?
But see, I was totally down with the character of Shang-Chi in the 70s and 80s when he was just Bruce Lee, but in Marvel Comics.
Great.
I was totally down with that. They've tried to, contextualize him and make him make sense in the comic book universe. Like, no, he's just a martial arts guy who goes around and punches people. You don't need it to be any deeper than that. He fights criminals who he punches. Again, doesn't need to be deeper than that.
We know why. We know why it's Shang-Chi in a movie. It's twofold. It's not just because they want to pander to China. It's because Netflix...
They need an Asian character.
No, it's because Netflix done fucked up.
No, they want an Asian franchise character. They have a black franchise character. They have a woman franchise character.
I already said it's not just because they want China bucks. That's why
I'm not talking about China bucks. I'm not talking about from a China perspective. I'm saying they would have a racial character to be the racial franchise for each character.
That's not it. They believe to get the China bucks, they need an Asian character because they believe that Asians won't watch a film that's not starring Asians. Okay? That is one facet of it. But the other facet of it is Netflix fucked up. And what Netflix fucked up on is a little show called Iron Fist. Okay?
Don't bring that up.
Because if you didn't watch it, they got a guy who can't act, who wasn't being Danny Rand, and couldn't do martial arts in a martial arts epic.
Well, I mean, Marvel didn't do that. Marvel TV, which was a separate company, did that.
Netflix did that.
Yeah.
Netflix burned a character that would have been a more correct character for this film.
But they were planning to make this be the Shang-Chi movie because they've been planning to make Shang-Chi the Asian standout franchise character for 10 years.
Right, because they're not sure that they can sell people on Amadeus Cho. For good reason.
Because Amadeus Cho is terrible.
Character.
And also, Chinese are more marketable than Koreans, and Japanese are more marketable than Chinese or Koreans.
Something capitalism, yeah. But no,
Amadeus Cho was a mistake.
Yes.
Well, I mean, Amadeus Cho as the Hulk was a terrible mistake. Amadeus Cho as a character maybe could have worked.
No, Amadeus Cho could never work. Because Amadeus Cho has a problem, which was it's not a problem with the character, it's a problem with Marvel at that time period.
He was the smartest character in the Marvel universe, you guys.
Right.
Which one? Because where in that ranking?
That's the thing. They decided to have they decided to have a slap fight about who was the smartest science hero. Right? So it's like, okay, well, Tony's super smart and smarter than Reed, but Dr. Doom is about as smart, if not smarter, than Tony. But oh wait, the smartest man in the room is actually Pym, but you didn't know it because he's crazy, because the shrinking in the groin kind of affects his brain.
Not anymore because he's a womanizing asshole.
But oh no, Amadeus Cho, the teen super genius, is the actual smartest Asian in the room, guys. Because Asian is smart, and that's his superpower.
And now they've made it so that Moon Girl is the smartest character in the Marvel universe.
Right, because empowered girl who rides dinosaurs smarter than man.
These are decisions that were made.
These are decisions that were made, and that's why I've always been like, no, this is not the bullpen when they have a fucking once-a-year meeting to lay out the next 4 quarters of storytelling at a remote lodge, because it's not a working environment. That's where they go to drink alcohol and snort crack off of hookers.
Yeah, but like if you're
smoke
going to
crack, you
have
don't
a
snort it.
hierarchy. Let's not go too deep into that mangled metaphor, Church. But like,
we can go.
We're taking a little sidetrack into a little discussion about world building. So you're wanting to say who's the smartest person in the Marvel universe? Well, of course, there's different kinds of smarts. You could say Reed Richards is the most intelligent, but because of who Reed Richards is, he can never make his intelligence into anything practical. Tony Stark is clearly the best engineer. While he may not be as smart as Reed, Tony Stank, he may not be as smart as Reed when it comes to raw science, but he's very good at engineering. Bruce Banner, he's very good about, broad, physics. And, then you got Hank Pym, who's really good at particle physics.
In my opinion, the smartest character in the Marvel Universe, and this is objective intelligence, okay, is dead, and that's because it's Charles Xavier. Actual Charles Xavier, not Phantomex or whatever the fuck that bullshit in the bubble is. Okay.
No, you mean Plant Charles Xavier.
Yeah, no, I mean actual Charles Xavier.
And but like you're referring to the fake Charles Xavier that Hickman put in the comics, which is Plant Man.
Yeah, not Plant Man. But the reason I say Charles Xavier isn't because he's necessarily smart as an individual. Okay, the man made lots of mistakes. He's fucking human. But through his psychic ability and the psychic weave, as we know there is an astral plane where psychics can commune, he can, in fact, tap into every coherent mind on the planet. He has the capacity to
I get that. As
charge
a psychic
himself.
myself.
Yeah, he can charge himself with the full awareness of every mind on the planet, which means for short periods he can in fact be the smartest being on Earth. Okay. Why does he not do that? Well, first of all, because it would fucking kill him. And second of all, because he's an actual decent human being who realizes that much power is dangerous.
But yeah, so the Shang-Chi's Fu Manchu, while Fu Manchu as a Yellow Peril villain is, it's racist.
It's not.
But I want to talk about an important thing related to Tony Isabella complaining about nonsense again.
Okay.
Why can't villains just be evil? How dare Slade, who had sex with a minor, although how old she was kind of, hand-waved in the comics. Well, how dare he be leading the comic book company by being a major published character in all sorts of properties? It's like, well, he's evil, and he did an evil thing.
This is a positionality that is at least 50 years old, but it reached its apex in the 90s, and they're still trying to push it, and the thing is it's not selling anymore, right? Because there was that narrow window where the going belief system was that no villain is actually a villain. And I'm not talking about this whole the villain is the hero of his own story bullshit, because that tautology can go right out the fucking window. I mean, it was this idea that all villains are actually misunderstood victims of abuse, and if society was just more understanding, or they were less exposed to evils of the world, they would have been decent people. And we have to have empathy and sympathy for them, because a sympathetic villain is more meaningful and interesting in media, and that's fucking bullshit. Because as much as I might enjoy a sympathetic villain sometimes, the fact of the matter is that sometimes you need a villain to just be a straight-up villain. You need to have someone you love to hate, and you want to see them be successful just long enough that your hero can kick their ever-loving shit out of them. That's called fun.
Those writers better not be stealing my role from me.
But what's hilarious is when Tony Isabella made this comment, people were saying, is he talking about Slade, or is he talking about such and such writer who's allegedly molested some children? That's a problem for the comic book industry if you don't know what they're referring to specifically with a vague internet allegation.
Can we not? I mean, we
set that clock.
15 minutes. We have 15 minutes. Can we not get into that tonight?
Reset the clock. Another
I
sex
don't-
abuser in the comic book industry.
I don't have enough alcohol to talk about this at the
But
moment.
but there's also people who are saying, well, if you like this villain, you must agree with what they believe in.
No.
What?
What?
What? But
See,
there are those people out there.
This is what I mean, though.
Hold on. Never go full retard.
Here's the thing.
Also related to that, that's why zombies became very popular in fiction.
And,
Let me be clear. I want to be clear.
A third point. Hold on, Rune. A third point. Robert Downey Jr. should play the new Black Panther.
Yes. But no. Let me
go ahead.
Actually, it's fucking hilarious. I saw someone did a race swap Black Panther. Black Panther's a blonde-haired guy with blue eyes, and they were like,
Phantom?
and they were like, "This is racist." The person who made this is a Nazi. It's like, wow, okay, but no, seriously. Let me postulate the following, and this is what they don't understand. And this is again, I'm gonna push and see how hard I can get Susan to shut us down. I want Slade Wilson to be a pedophile. Okay, I really do.
Whoa.
Hold up.
Right. Let me explain why.
Teenagers aren't pedophiles. It's pederasty then.
But no, let me explain why.
Me and Church are the alcoholics, and you're going with this line.
Right, but let me explain why. I want him to be the worst human being imaginable, so that I do not feel conflicted or aggravated when heroes kick his shit in, because Slade Wilson is an assassin and a murderer.
Wait. Does he have to be a pedo to?
Does he have to be?
Feel bad?
No. Does he have to be? No. But if you're gonna go with that track, if that's gonna be your push, fucking own it. Okay.
I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from.
But here's the hilarious part with the whole Tara story is Tara initiated, and he didn't know how old she was.
I was gonna get to that with fucking Tara. It was always creepy in the cartoon,
and it was creepy in the comic book where the actual sex act occurred.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Oh wait, hold up.
Oh, you didn't know that?
Yeah,
you didn't know that?
What?
Yeah, in the original Teen Titans comic book.
No, literally the only DC I've read has been like Flash and Green Lantern. That's it.
Oh, you missed out. You missed out.
Did I?
Church. We need to get that. We need to get the graphic novel into rotation.
I think we're just going to read Legion of Superheroes instead. But
no, I'm gonna start my 50 cal. But continue.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, okay? I want a hero to find out about this situation. And I want them to find out as it is. Right? Right? They find out that Slade did an awful, and they're like, and he's like, well, she initiated, I just didn't stop her. Because he's the kind of person that would think that moral, hamster wheel works. Right? Right? And it's
you mean like how they didn't do that with Dr. Light, who literally raped Elongated Man's wife?
Right. And then the thing is like, no, you fucking scumbag. Just because you took advantage of a damaged young woman who could not tell the difference between correct and incorrect doesn't absolve your ass. I'm going to stomp you like an unwanted penis. It's like, okay.
How dare you talk about my ex-wife like that? but what? There was some suggestiveness in. Hold on, I'm still so confused. There was some suggestive shit in the show, but what?
Right, in the original comic book, which came first, they were working their villainous scheme together, and Tara decided to jump Slade's bones, and he's like, "All right."
I mean, and you said he didn't know she was like 13, right?
It was ambiguous how old she was.
Right. They didn't give her an age in the book, which means that she could run the gamut from an 18-year-old short stack to a 13-year-old in development to a 16-year-old, and the context that people keep missing is that Slade Wilson is a super intelligent sociopath.
Well, hold on. So it would be like she's attractive, but I would almost question whether I should card her before selling her a pack of cigarettes. But I'm on the fence whether I should or should not.
But again, like, Slade's a sociopath.
That's kind of how they phrased it.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm trying. Hold on. I'm trying to, attribute.
You guys broke him.
World situation.
You owe me a new co-host if he doesn't repair.
Well, Ayrton.
I don't have enough alcohol left for this shit.
Hold up, Ayrton. Sure, the same guy who wrote this storyline in the comic books also later wrote himself in marrying one of the characters.
Which character?
Wonder Girl, Donna Troy.
How old was she at this point?
She was over 18.
Okay.
But his character, which was himself that he wrote into the comic, was clearly in his 30s.
I turned 30 in March, and I've been with some chicks that are in their early 20s. So I can accept that because it's all legal. But
this still brings us
to what the fuck?
This still brings us to, okay? We have to be 100% unfunny here for a minute. All right?
Do we have to?
Yes.
It's a defense mechanism.
No, we have to. Shut up.
How dare you?
Yeah, one, we are all of agreement that people under the age of majority cannot consent. They really can't.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Any young person who thinks that they can is, I'm not going to say damaged, but they need help. Okay? This is why it's called grooming. Okay?
Like my ex-wife.
Right? That means that the actual adult in the scenario is on the hook to do the right thing, which is to say no and to remove themselves. Okay? And the important context that we keep saying, and it keeps getting glossed over because people ignore it, is that Slade is a sociopath. And what this specifically means is that he is lacking in any kind of moral ethical compass. He doesn't recognize right or wrong. He doesn't recognize good or evil.
I thought sociopath was you had no empathy and you put your shoes on.
No, that's
sock and shoe and sock and shoe.
No, psychopathy is a lack of empathy.
Yeah, sociopathy can be is so called because it can be socially functional. They can function like the rest of us, but it is essentially like a fucking shark pretending to be normal.
Come down there for it.
Okay, and that's the thing, is that this is a person who was presented.
Sorry, I'm just feeling personally attacked.
I mean, you can, but feel free. This was a person presented with a situation who went, should I do this? Society says no. Do I give a shit about society? No. Is it going to feel good? Yes. Do I like feeling good? Yes. Okay. That's his thought process.
Will society try to arrest me?
Dude, I swear to God.
The thing is, I'm not kidding. This is the decision-making that serial... Let me fucking finish, man. This is actually the decision-making that serial killers use. That is how their brains work. Okay?
And the difference between a regular sociopath and a serial killer is a regular sociopath says, eventually police will arrest me.
Right.
And that I won't like.
Right. Whether or not a serial killer kills you is literally them boiling down their thought process to, can I get away with it? Will I enjoy it? Can this person stop me? And if those three answers are
candy.
And if those three answers are all in the positive in such a way that they appreciate it, they'll just fucking do it. Right there. Okay? And then deal with the consequences afterwards. Okay? This should have been a scenario that tells people how fucked up Slade Wilson is and how much of a dangerous monster he is. Right?
Can we talk about arm fall off boy some more?
I mean, did he masturbate until his arm fell off?
I mean, we never really had his powers explained.
Didn't you when you were 14 and learn how to
I mean,
lock the bathroom door
that
properly?
sounds like what will happen when Tom King takes over the Legion of Superheroes.
No,
oh God, that is horrible.
No.
Oh God, that's horrible. No,
No,
DC Comics, don't listen to me. What I just said.
No. No. When Tom King takes it over, he's going to detach his arm and use it as a dildo on his mother.
In non-consensual sex.
Yeah, he's going to Christian that shit.
Because non-consensual sex is no longer rape. We've been told by DC that's not rape. That's just non-consensual sexual contact.
Is Church even still alive? Are we still
No,
oh, I'm here.
You see, this is our having a fairly unplanned show.
This is what Church wants because he doesn't have to work, and we're just going to make the show for him.
Guilty.
But yeah,
I want to go out bathing like turpentine.
You know what I also like about this is that Tony Isabella has a big chip on his.
What you like about this?
Well, the controversy that we're talking about was sponsored by Tony Isabella, who's angry at the world because.
Real quick, hold on before we get into Tony Isabella.
I'm angry. I'm
Ayrton, let me calm you down. Let me calm you down. See, there's a theory that claims that the detachable kid from the new Suicide Squad movie is actually a version of the arm fall off boy who became a criminal.
Okay.
So you got that going for you.
Calm me down.
No, I'm giving you arm fall off boy content. Fuck you.
Yeah. So Tony Isabella has a beef with Brian Edward Hill, who recently wrote a Batman comic book that was Black Lightning centered because he didn't like the way he wrote Black Lightning. Which is weird how a Hispanic guy who wrote a black character is mad at how the black guy writes the black character. Which is kind of weird if you think about it. And he recently did, ironically enough,
these goddamn conversations. I swear to God.
Brian's also on the Titans TV show as one of the writers, and they recently did Slade Wilson and their version of this storyline on the Titans TV show. So this could all be part of Tony's really weird "I'm a mad old man" fight with Brian Edward Hill.
Hold on, Rune. What did you just post in the Discord?
Oh, just more awfulness.
Which section of the Discord did you post that in?
In show suggestions.
I see that. Will you give me some context, please?
I'm literally listening to you and discussing Titans, and just see this in my feed, and I'm like, a guy who wrote on Wonder Woman and has all kinds of accreditation
I remember
users are not particularly likely to reoffend.
I remember how a whole bunch of comic pros send a thing saying that they would say something if they saw somebody who was making dangerous comments that would make people feel sexually unsafe. Really makes you think. Oh, and he works for The Atlantic.
Yeah.
And The Washington Post and Foreign Policy.
Excuse me while I craft one of my... Oh, his tweets are now protected.
That's so weird. That is so weird.
I needed to reply. I'm going to follow him. We'll update later.
Oh no, he wrote a textbook on Wonder Woman, bondage, and feminism.
Okay.
I mean,
that's just an issue of Wonder Woman. But continue.
Yeah, but yeah. So
I gotta get let's look at this outstanding gentleman. Let's just get a picture of this guy up on screen. Why don't we?
Apparently, I found something interesting enough that we gotta change tracks again and talk about more sex grossness. Damn it!
You did this to you. All right, here we go.
What did I do?
You were here.
Shit.
You showed up.
You showed up to work today. That was what you did.
2.5 years, motherfucker. Of course. Of course I showed up.
That's who made these comments. This is the face of who made these comments. The word neckbeard comes to mind. I can definitely see why he would make these comments, because if he was a child sexual, if he was a child sexual predator, I would put my money on him reoffending.
There's a whole lot of really weird stuff in that space, and I don't want to go any further into that space than I have to. But I do want to say that space is very interesting because we all know our good friend Jim, we were talking about at the start of the show, doesn't like those people a lot.
Oh no, a lot of people don't like those people. Ayrton, you'll be
Well,
happy
no,
to know.
like that's.
I put the avatar where you're on my shoulder. We're standing over and looking down on this person in judgment now.
Yeah, but for Mr. Jim, that's just like doing something bad to cats and then having it posted on 4chan.
Yeah. All right. So final thought, ladies and gentlemen. Let's wrap this up. I think we broke Ayrton.
Well, my final thoughts is I want to. We need to next week's show. We need to plug in a spot where we need to talk about what RuneKnight hates about the major D&D YouTubers and role playing game YouTubers, but they're mostly D&D YouTubers, the ones he complained about.
I mean, because D&D is the primary venue. To actually find someone talking about other games that isn't a corporate shill for World of Darkness is surprisingly difficult.
Well, I mean, I could come up with a couple of role playing YouTubers who aren't D&D shells.
Right, but are they just OSR shills?
I can come up with ones that are neither OSR shells nor D&D shells.
I would be interested. This is relevant to my interests.
I will recommend those YouTubers to you off the show.
Well, I need to go away once we are off show, but since we are wrapping up, I have a question for Ayrton. Ayrton, I got a question for you. If you're there, you're muted.
I think he's hanging himself, actually.
I mean, I was just gonna say, what do you think you do here?
He knows.
I talk to people. I'm a people person.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you once again, and I will will be in the Discord for a few minutes at least after the show. But
to tell us what we've done wrong.
Well, I need to get Ayrton back here to get us out of here, but apparently he's dead on the inside and the outside now. So
well,
good night, everybody.
You could. Good night.
Oh, go ahead. Luckily, I can what?
You can push the button yourself.
I can, but he usually tells everybody good night for me.